This morning, immigration back in the spotlight. Thanks for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Evan Irani in for Eric Connert.
And I'm Neda Iranpour. So glad to have you here with us. Now, federal officials suspended the Remain in Mexico policy. This means people no longer have to wait in shelters in Mexico while they seek asylum.
CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live in San Ysidro this morning with the impact that this is going to be having on thousands of migrants. Good morning, Dana Marie.
Good morning, Evan and Neda. Now, this is the end of a Trump-era policy that requires asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for that immigration court hearing. Now, we did hear from the Department of Homeland Security, who says that the end of this program will be unwinded quietly and quickly. No more people will be enrolled, and those who appear in court will not be required to attend Mexico when they appear in the U.S. for their next hearing. Now, the announcement, which came more than a year after the Biden administration first moved to terminate the Remain in Mexico rules, was made possible by a federal court order earlier this week. Now, here's the reason for ending this policy. The Department of Homeland Security says, quote, it has endemic flaws that imposes unjustifiable human costs and pulls resources and personnel away from other priority efforts to secure our border. Now, the Trump administration started this program, the Migrant Protection Protocols policy, in early 2019, using it to return 70,000 migrants to Mexico, many of whom lived in rough conditions in encampments near the U.S. border. Human rights workers recorded hundreds of reported attacks against migrant forces to wait in Mexico, including in areas U.S. officials warn Americans not to visit due to violent crime and kidnappings. Now, on the other hand, the Trump administration said this policy dissuaded migrants looking for better economic opportunities from using the asylum system to stay and work in the United States. Now, here back live in San Ysidro today, this is when those asylum seekers do not have to wait in Mexico any longer. Of course, CBS 8 has been following this from the beginning, so we have further information on CBS8.com. I'm Dana Marie McNichol coming to you live. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Dana Marie, thank you very much on top of those latest developments. And also new this morning, former President Trump is out with a campaign ad style video just hours after federal agents searched his estate in Florida. This video that he shared on Truth Social is another hint that he may run for president in 2024. Meantime, we're learning more about what the FBI was looking for in Mar-a-Lago. Dan Lieberman has the latest.
Sources tell CBS News the FBI's Mar-a-Lago search is connected to a Justice Department investigation into how former President Trump handled White House records. The probe is looking into claims by the National Archives that it found 15 boxes of records at Trump's Florida estate earlier this year. Some of the material is said to have been classified. Trump issued a statement saying Mar-a-Lago was, quote, under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents.
What they need is probable cause that there was a federal crime that was committed and probable cause that the evidence of that crime is where they say it was, in this case at Mar-a-Lago.
The former president was in New York at the time of Monday's FBI search. This video shows him leaving Trump Tower. Today, the scene outside of Trump's luxury building here on Fifth Avenue is relatively quiet. Last night, Trump's son, Eric, spoke out about the search.
They want to attack a guy who they view as his greatest threat, is Biden's greatest threat.
A senior White House source says the Biden White House was given no advance notice of the search. Several investigations into the former president are known to be underway, while sources tell CBS the warrant has nothing to do with the January 6th committee. Dan Lieberman, CBS News, New York.
Back in February, the National Archives asked the Justice Department to investigate Trump's handling of White House records. The National Archives said that some of the documents that Trump turned over to them had been ripped up at the time and taped back together. Neda?
And now here locally, this morning about 600 San Diegans under a boil water order. City officials say low water pressure is to blame for this, and it's impacting many people in Tierra Santa, mainly those living right near Mission Trails Regional Park. Officials say a water transmission line broke right near Governor Drive, and it was on Saturday when it happened. For the next 4 days now, impacted residents have to boil their drinking water just to kill any possible bacteria. They're also being asked to limit their water usage to only critical needs.
We live in a nice neighborhood and we pay taxes, so we expect to have a nice continuity of services provided. So that's alarming in that there's that break.
Yeah, water is certainly one of those important services that people count on. The city is working on repairs right now. We do have information on our website that includes which homes are impacted by this boil water order and where the city will be distributing water bottles. You can go to CBS8.com, click on the help button.
And this morning, we're hearing from the father of a teenager who reported being raped by several San Diego State football players. That alleged rape happened last October during an off-campus party. The father claims police knew about the, quote, party house and its history. Public records show police were called to that house for loud parties 3 times just in 2021. That was prior to the alleged rape.
Well, it's disappointing that the public is making calls to try and keep their neighborhood safe, and that the police were either unable to get there in a timely fashion or unable to go at all.
And despite the party history, the house was never flagged under a San Diego police program called CAP, C-A-P-P, where property owners can be fined $1,000 per party for underage drinking.
This week, San Diego County distributing over 1,500 doses of the monkeypox vaccine. The doses will be going to healthcare providers and clinics here and will be available by appointment only. If you do need one, certainly want to call and make that appointment. Since late May, the county has gotten nearly 4,700 doses of the monkeypox vaccine. And so far, you see right there, 3,200 have been distributed. Over 2,200 have been administered. And now we're learning more about the CDC's updated COVID guidelines for schools. According to a draft document obtained by CBS News, the changes could allow schools to relax social distancing measures. They would also de-emphasize so-called test-to-stay strategies. That's where students exposed to the virus take regular tests to stay in class. Another potential update, those exposed to COVID would no longer need to quarantine, vaccinated or not. Instead, the recommendation would be to mask for 10 days and test 5 days after exposure. Now, the guidelines are expected sometime this week. So again, these were copies that we got from CBS News. Classes are back in session for some San Diego students starting today. So it does feel like summer outside, but schools are ready to open their doors for students for another year of learning. Today marks the first day for students in the Escondido Union High School Districts, Julian Union, and Julian Union High School Districts. So good luck to everybody on your first day back. And now we want to check in with Evan. I mean, wow, last night was so impressive.
Ooh.
Rainbows, orange skies. I mean,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
We had some amazing images. Many of you sending in the photos that you took, the videos that you took. Take a look at this rainbow that we got in Poway. Thank you to Lori for sending it in. And we have a beautiful sunset at Balboa Park. Thank you to Don for this photo. I was out at Balboa Park around the evening hours too. There were some beautiful tones of orange and pink and red in the sky. Remember, you can always submit your photos and videos. You head to our CBS 8 app, you go to the Near Me section on the bottom right, and you click the Share With Us button. Then we get to see those images and we can throw them up here on the air. So we appreciate everyone sharing with us, being the eyes and ears of San Diego County, letting us know about the showers that came through, and in some cases, not just light showers, thunderstorms that passed over the mountaintops that really moved farther off to the west toward your inland valleys and your coastline. Today is a very similar day, so keep those phones ready if you're capturing any of the photos and videos. I mean, it was a beautiful end of the day yesterday. We had a mix of activity. We saw some wind come through associated with those storms, and then at times some spots saw a brief downpour of rain. Some spots saw it lasting for a pretty lengthy amount of time. I mean, Mount Laguna picked up on over 1.25 inches, and that allowed for flash flooding at one point. It was relatively short-lived, but kind of gives you an idea of this sporadic nature of this monsoonal moisture that we're continuing to tap into. So let's take a look at what we have remaining to start off now your Tuesday morning. Very minimal up toward that northeast corner of San Diego County, mainly our deserts. We're still seeing just a few light showers come through, nothing really major, but that wider picture shows you there's a pretty dense amount of clouds passing through as well. Phoenix just a couple hours ago saw a pretty strong cell as well. So all things that we're monitoring to start off the day. Some of those rain totals show that Julian headed back to school today, picked up on 85/100ths of an inch, so watch out for some areas of mud possibly. Pine Valley over half an inch, and then it looks like Lake Cuyamaca picked up on just over 6/10. So a very, very generous amount of rain that came down over the mountaintops. What we're hoping is that that same situation occurs a little bit more gently is what a lot of people would prefer, but we could use any amount of precipitation that we get out there. We know we have been very, very dry. Thank you to Mary for sending this photo in. Beautiful rainbow images just around that sunset time. Again, keep sending them our way. As far as traffic goes, things are very, very light on the roads this morning. We haven't really seen any major congestion so far. So looking at those drive times out the door, we are seeing that we're at about 8 minutes on that commute on the 5 southbound from the 54 to the border. You're at this mid 60-mile-per-hour range. Same goes for the 78 westbound and the 52 westbound. Nothing crazy going on this morning. Netta?